Okay, we're live.
Someday I'll let them watch.
I'll get it out of your way.
Sit down and watch every board meeting.
You got it? Okay,
All right.
so we'll call to order. We're going to start our policy update committee meeting at 6:01 p.m. on Wednesday, October 19th. We have two board members with us tonight, Renee Powell and Brian Shannon. Trevor DeHart has called in sick, and if he's watching online, terrific. So we've gone through the policy process, and y'all feel free to jump in and stop me and wherever you want to go and you start. Again, like I shared at the last board meeting, we're going call to order. Let's stick to the script instead of me jumping ahead. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, should we do the flag salute?
I didn't have flag salute on here, but I'm more than happy to
I
do
move that we amend the agenda to add the flag.
to add the flag salute. Okay, and also I want to add a couple other things if we have time to talk about it. And one is I wanted you to take a look at a policy. I get quarterly updates, but I can also request up to 25 policies and ARs a year to do an adjustment. And so I'm a firm believer we need to update our complaint policy.
Mhm.
And so I've got copies of those for you to look at as well.
Okay.
And to take a look at that process. And then I also contacted the head of OSBA, who's in charge of policy, and that's Spencer Lewis. And I've consulted with him and talked about the potential of updating our policies and what that would look like and the costs for them to come in. So I'm not looking to make a decision tonight. I'm not necessarily looking to push this to the board as a whole. Now, if you want to, that's an option that we can discuss or we can go forward with, but I just wanted you to make you aware. That's all that is.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, how about we do the pledge?
Let's do it.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then 3.0, we are discussing and reviewing the policy updates.
Now, since we have so many, do you want us to take the ones that are required first? We can go through those. Just take them in order of things that we have to do versus things that would be nice to have.
Whatever your preference is.
What do you think, Renee?
Sure.
All right. So the first one on the list that's required would be EFA, and that is local wellness.
Is this all in?
It should be in alphabetical order by the policy number.
You
By the
also
code.
have in your packet the summary too that OSBA has shared as to why we're doing what we're doing.
Excellent.
You said EFA?
Mhm.
Oh, here it is.
And let's look at the summary. Oh, they don't have the letters on the summaries. Here.
So here it is, the local wellness, the summary. It says that they review the policy attached. I jumped to the end, local or district responsibility. Reviewing the requirements from ODE and consider the changes need to be made to the policy for the following results of the assessment. So essentially what it's coming down to here is the National School Lunch Program was delayed by COVID, and local district wellness plans became due for the first time. In anticipation, the Oregon Department of Education and the Oregon School Boards Associations and other stakeholders such as OEA Trust began discussing how members realize a more effective local wellness plan and implementation in their districts. One of the supports was to revamp the model local wellness policy and bring the elements of the accompanying model to administrative regulations into policy. And so that's why they're saying we're required to make the change.
Now, on required ones, are we able to make edits, or is it you just have to accept it as it is?
Well, I've already gone ahead and made those edits that were prescribed, and I sent that back to you and the other members on this committee, about a month or so back. So you asked for the.
I'm saying here tonight,
That's up to you. If
but on the required ones, we're allowed to make edits.
there are, and so what I'd have to do is I'd have to go back and look and see, Because you can't make sweeping edits for change. There's certain language, and I shared this with you as well. If you take a look at the grade language, that's telling you that's a change in law versus struck out languages. This is outdated, and if there's verbiage in brackets, then you can make those changes. But I don't have any of those hard copy changes for you in front of you.
Okay.
So what you have is the finished product and the finished version. So what I did is I went back, looked at the original policy, looked at the recommendations, and then I went through and made the edits.
And we don't currently have an EFA policy, is that right?
EFA, yeah, I would believe we would.
Because in the first packet, I only saw an AR that was being deleted. I didn't see an EFA that was being deleted.
EFA. Yeah, we have it. That policy is from 2020 and originally adopted in 2015.
And I guess my question is, since we don't have a copy of it in front of us, how does this version differ from that version? What did they change? It's a big one, I know.
Yeah, probably the best way, if you're wanting to see the originals versus the finished product, I think what I would need to do is just to go back with all the originals that I have in here and then staple them together with the finished product so you compare and contrast, because we'll spend 2 hours just on this one alone.
Yeah.
Not
Well-
that many changes?
Well, yeah, there can be. So let me go back and I'm gonna look in my file here. And I don't want that. Oops. Oh, yeah, a lot of copies. That's why I was actually surprised that we were taking an active interest here, because in the other districts I've worked in, the board was more than happy to have me go through this process.
Well, there's like 3 things that we're told we get to do in policy about Scott.
Yeah, no, and so each board will have different attitudes or mindsets. Okay. So here's the sample policy, and I'll have you take a look at this, and you can scroll up and down and take a look and see what's bracketed there, what's not, and again, to compare and contrast with the hard copy that you
So
actually have.
this is the
The
draft.
original sample policy
From OSBA. But do we currently have a policy on our books called EFA?
Yes.
That's what I was asking.
You want me to pull that up?
Yes,
Oh, yeah, okay.
I have a computer too. I could pull it.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. Yeah, that's why I said this was originally adopted in 2017 and then readopted in 2020.
Okay. I didn't see anything in this policy that had me too concerned. Did you?
Mm-mm. That's what I was wondering. It's probably a lot because of the COVID and everything.
Okay.
So the next one, do you want to do CB?
Well,
Is that kind of the order? Aren't you going like from?
do we want to take a vote to recommend this to the
Oh.
board?
Sure.
I don't know if we need to take a vote or just a consensus that we're just moving forward with this. So I've got EFA going forward.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll do it that way.
Yeah, because there's no reason for an action because we don't have a quorum.
okay.
But if you want to do an action, we can do that as
I
well.
mean, we could still vote as a
Yeah,
committee.
you absolutely
Yeah.
can. So we can keep it as
So that
tight or
one's
as loose
like-
as you'd like.
All right, so that was EFA. The next required one would be GBEA. That is workplace harassment.
And you will find from time to time that past boards and or superintendents did not keep up with policy. So you may find one that is completely new.
Hmm.
Such as GBEA.
Hmm.
We do not have one. So this is what it looks
Wow.
like when I type in the letters.
Surprised.
But we do have harassment
Yeah.
policies.
But not this one.
Right.
This
Right.
one would have been nice to have.
Yes. So remember with policy, or at least my take, how about this? Is that the policies are in place to reduce the potential of litigation and liability to the board. So past boards, for example, let's say GBA, workplace harassment was offered to the district and they chose not to. It doesn't mean that the district is operating illegally. It just means that we're not current with the current laws and the current legislation. And some policies are going to read, if you don't have it in place, yeah, you've got legal issues, but there are other required policies where that is not the case. So all students belong, or every student belong policy was passed a couple of years ago. It was a Division 22 standard, and that is required by law, and there would be significant issues if we pass that particular policy and have it in place, as an example.
And how do we know which ones that's the case for?
That's where you would get in the summaries from me where it's going to say, and then the other thing too would be in your Division 22 standards. It may say you have to have these policies in place, and you've got Division 22 standards coming up to be brought before you as a board, and you'll have a list. And superintendent will go back and make sure that we're doing all those steps. And if he finds that we're not, then you have a year to make that correction before you're in trouble with the state.
What's Division 21?
Division 22, those are standards that are required, that the districts require, that there are certain things that we have to do in order to be a legal entity in educating K-12 students.
What is Division 21, 22? What are those referring to? Are they
Uh,
sections of code or something? or-
It's state level ORS Division 22. So let me see if I can find something here for you.
And then I had a question too on like contents of these little stars.
I do not know what those mean.
Some of them have like 2 stars and
If
one
one
has
stars,
I believe the 1 star means it's required. 2, well, no, 'cause
No.
that doesn't.
no, it
Yeah.
doesn't jive. Neither does the lettering to the policies. Why is it GBA?
Right, well, yeah, sure.
Why
I
is
mean,
it-
but
Yeah, it makes no sense. So,
that
yeah,
was always the training, was that the stars indicate what was required and what was optional, but that isn't matching the list that we have here. Which is a little concerning.
I don't want
Mhm.
this. I want,
I want to know what that means. Oh, this one's see.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it in this list. And the requireds on here that was just pulled from the summary that OSBA.
that the
Okay.
OSBA says is required due to changes in the law and the statutes.
While he's doing that, do you have any notes on GBEA? Renee?
I'm looking. I'm not really. seeing anything.
So I do have a question.
Okay.
So here's your Division 22. Division 22, each year the district engages their local school boards in the review of administrative rules, which is in OAR, which is Administrative Rules, Chapter 581, Division 22 standards. This is an annual practice, is one of the ways we uphold our shared commitment to equity and excellence for every learner. It's an opportunity for the school districts to demonstrate compliance with the rigorous standards, reflect on the areas in need of attention or alignment, and the plan on how to address them. As part of the shared responsibility to provide quality service for all of our students and communities, the system promotes reciprocal accountability between school districts and the Department of Education. For Division 22 assurances, reporting processes, school districts must report compliance. And it's written down here for the 2021-22 school year. I had this written up. We may be posting this on our website. I still need superintendent to take a look at that, but that's the language that I've used in the past. And part of the requirements that we have to post that we are in compliance with Division 22 standards. You're not in compliance, district gets shut down.
And which ones of these are 22?
No. You asked me if there was a policy under Division 22, and I was referring to the all students or every student belongs. That's into Division 22 standards. You have to have that policy on the books. Some of the other required policies I was telling you are not required.
Yeah,
to be
so how
in
do
there.
we know? which
Yeah, how do you
ones
know
are
what's
required?
Division 20?
Well, there's a list of the Division 22 standards. There's like 50 to
Are any of
75.
these that we're looking at tonight Division 22?
To my knowledge, no, there was none of that in the summary. No. So when they say they're required, that tells me that there was a change in statute or in law up the line in that the latest session of the legislature said you need to put these in place.
So let me ask this. I noticed that the definition in this policy of workplace harassment means any conduct that constitutes discrimination as prohibited by certain categories under Oregon Revised Statute, one of which is gender identity. So let me ask you this. If a teacher were to say in the course of, a classroom debate on gender, I suppose, that they thought that there were only two genders, male and female, would that constitute harassment under this language?
I think it would allege that, yes, that could lead to workplace harassment. G, I'm thinking, yes, G is for personnel. And what I'm doing is I'm looking on our website. And so the first letter in this policy of GBEA, G is personnel. So that would be harassment amongst personnel in the district. If you were going to be talking about students, that would fall under J. J is for students. Again, federal codes, I don't know why J is for students.
But again, they're not addressing a particular student or fellow staff member. They're just expressing their belief that there are two genders, male and female.
Right.
That
And
one-
you're saying that that would
It's a
run
potential.
afoul of this language.
It's a potential.
Yeah.
So
And this language also covers elected school board members.
Yes.
yes.
So if we were to say that, we could be sued under this policy for harassment.
Well, you can be sued for anything.
Sure.
And so, yes, I think connecting the dots that, yes, this would be a basis. So for example, if I go against whatever my pronouns are and you don't follow the pronouns that I acknowledge, I could potentially say that is a harassment in the workplace.
Under
Yes.
this policy.
Yes.
Yeah.
This would be. what
Despite
you-
the fact that other school districts have sued and lost for forcing people to use preferred pronouns.
Well, and that's where the judges and attorneys come in to determine.
I'm a little tired of judges and attorneys, Scott.
Yeah, and it goes both ways. Look at all the harassment and stuff that we did, that people did to us as board
Mhm.
members, and nothing was ever done,
Sure.
so. Because you're not supposed to. That was one thing that I addressed prior, because I think that's in one of our policies.
I'm going to say we don't have consensus on this one.
Okay.
One of the notes that I need to make is I need to find out what the stars mean. Are you okay with me asking
Of
about
course,
that?
Yeah.
of course, I would like to know what the stars mean. Okay, the next one is GCDA.
The other thing that I thought I would do too, if we're not moving forward with this required policy, I will go back and I will double check and make sure that that's not running afoul of Division 22.
Please do.
And I'll let the policy committee know what I find. Okay.
What was it?
GBA,
No.
G,
No, what was the one?
oh, he's going down to the next required.
GCDA, but I didn't.
That's highly recommended. Did you want to go to that or do you want to go to the required?
I'm sorry, that's
No, yeah, that's what I was wondering.
IG,
GCDA is required right here. Is this out of date? I'm looking at my old original.
Just says
no,
highly recommend-
that's out of date.
Oh. Oh, well, hell, all right.
Yeah, you got.
I have my
the
whole
one.
list prepared. Got it.
I was like, I don't see it on here.
Okay. Let me highlight the required
So it'd be
on this one.
IGBAF. I think is the next one that's required.
IGBAF.
Yeah.
Special education, individualized IEP.
IGBAF, okay. I'm with you.
Right.
That policy was originally adopted back on 2007 and was updated in 2012. So it's been 10 years on this particular policy.
What's the Wi-Fi here? You know, the Wi-Fi password? Oh, it's open. No, never mind.
You got it?
I got
Okay, I was going to take you to another one, but
it.
didn't want to say
I
it out
figured there was
loud,
a
but I was going to show you,
Oh, yeah.
see what I had. Um,
So what's changing between what we currently have on the books that we passed so many odd years ago in this one?
I knew you were going to ask, so I'm going to go back and there doesn't look like a whole lot to the eye. Let me go back to what they pushed out.
Now it has 2 stars.
IGBAF. So I'm going to push this up for you so y'all can see. Remember,
There's very little change.
remember, gray is the key.
Okay.
There's
Yep,
that.
they're adding a statute. Okay.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Well, that's
So the
easy.
rest of the language is good. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, yeah, I see that.
Okay,
Perfect.
okay.
Easy peasy.
All right, so we'll
So
go
that one's
forward with
yes.
this one. Okay, I'm just putting a check mark.
Yeah, let's keep track.
Yeah, we got 2 to 1 here. So the next one is IGGB.
No, it's IGBB.
IGBB.
IGBB, I stand corrected. Okay.
We have a lot of IGBA ones.
IGBB.
You don't seem to have an IGBB currently.
We do not.
Okay.
That's a lot.
The other thing that you're going to notice too, let's say, for example, we had IGBB on the books. And we adopted, say, in 2012. There may have been another one in 2016, and now here we are in 2022. So the policy that they're pushing forward and what it should look like to be replaced may not be, because again, it may have not been kept current.
Okay.
Any issues with IGBB?
So we don't currently have this. What policies currently govern our talented and gifted program? IGBBA?
Let's see. I'm not seeing anything there. Let me try one other thing.
And I'm concerned about like that last paragraph, like, and then you go to policy KL,
So if you look,
you have a complaint regarding the program?
if you go to policy IGBBA, we have that on the books.
Right?
And that is the identification of talented and gifted. So the specifically as far as the program or the services, that's not covered. This is referring to how you identify.
So we have an implied tag program.
Oh, and then. So the IGBBC was deleted.
Should be.
So
That's the
so
recommendation.
what this is doing is basically saying you need to consider things other than actual intellectual talent in deciding who gets the opportunities.
Mhm.
We do not have consensus.
Okay,
Okay, wait.
okay.
So what it is, read these sentences. All this is basically saying, we don't have to pick the smart kids. We can pick the kids who have culturally relevant indicators, variations in the student's opportunity.
Okay,
It's equity.
okay, so this is a no.
Open.
Do we have a consensus? No.
Consensus, no.
Okay. The next one is IGBB.
And I just want to say for the record, I think the smartest kid should get the opportunity for a gifted and talented program, regardless of any identity attributes of that child.
Mhm.
Duly noted.
So now we're at
I-
IGBBA.
Correct. We do have that.
And
That
that's
was
kind-
on,
Is that kind of the same kind of a language?
so that was adopted in 2007, updated in 2016. And now you want me to go back and look at what that language looked like. And I can blow it up, but you can just see the basic visual that there's significant language change.
Well, let me ask you this. You might not know the answer. You're pretty new here. How are we currently screening for gifted and talented
Yeah.
kids? What's the current process look like? Do you know?
It would be under policy IGGBA. That would be the
Okay.
process that we are adhering to.
Mm.
Consensus denied.
Agreed?
Yes.
Not that you have to, but I just.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. So now we are at
Yeah.
IGDJ.
The ones that are deleted, what do we do?
I'm just notifying you as board members that OSBA says just to clean this out of our files. And so this will be sent forward to them saying that we're going to eliminate the policy as they prescribed.
Okay, they don't want this. This is like the old one.
This is one that I don't even,
What is this?
this is actually, I don't,
Is that
we-
F?
I don't think we have that here.
Yeah, why? Because we don't have IGBBF.
This is IGBBC.
Oh, we got IGBBC.
Yeah, and they want
Okay.
us to
So
get
if
rid
you
of it.
take a look at that, and you can just see the basic format is different from the basic format here. And that's
Yeah.
why I said to you, there will be times when districts aren't current with the most current.
Mm,
So what that's telling me is this was a more current, but for whatever reason, the board did not move forward and have it on the books. They stayed with a more original.
Do we have that original? Are we gonna be,
This is all I have.
okay,
So are you not wanting to delete IGBBC and keeping it on the books, or are you wanting to take it away?
Well, I'm just concerned what it looks like without it. Since we haven't advanced the other two
Yeah, because it's all kind
tied together.
of, yeah, so I think we put it aside with the other ones, so we can look at all three of them kind of together, because they're all kind of talking about the same kind of thing.
So we don't want to delete this then, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay,
We really can look at it all, because it's all
okay.
tied in together.
So I tell you what, then I will not move this forward to be deleted. We're going to keep that. Okay.
IGDJ,
IG. DJ. We do not have that on the books. IG. DJ. That one's new. And if we had been new, there would have been significant edits to it.
So I think I can be okay with this if we replace equity with equal opportunity.
Mhm.
I believe there's 2 places in it where it says that word. You good with that change, Renee?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you said there were 2 places.
Yeah, so
The other one.
first sentence of item number 1, and then
So it says, address the use of derogatory, inappropriate names, insult, verbal assault,
no, in the headline to that.
implements and adheres to equal opportunity.
Yep.
Oh, I see it in the last number 4 too.
Yep, so 1 and 4.
And right here,
Mhm.
equal opportunity.
Now, I did have a question. One of this prohibits, poor behavior at interscholastic activities, which I'm all for. Covered in it is spectators. What is the school's ability to discipline spectators other than just telling them to leave the game?
Yeah, you can do that. I'm of a biased opinion that our student athletes face more or as much verbal vitriol towards them because they're from here and because of the actions that the board and the leadership is making in this district, that type of activity is going on. Somebody was sharing with me that was happening this week, and there isn't anything that's being done as far as OSBA or ODE recognizing that.
Of course not.
That's not coming up at all. So to be honest with you, districts will work with the OSAA, which is oversees activities in athletics, but they usually follow their cue from ODE, COSA, and so they will be pretty much in lockstep with those organizations. So really what it comes back to is Yeah, just removing the spectators, and it could be not only from a game, but it could be for a season, or it could be a lifetime ban,
Sure.
as an example.
I don't know how egregious it was. Yeah, with those two changes, I think I'm okay with this.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm going to check mark this with change. Do you want to see that highlighted in red, or are you wanting to see me highlight that at all in this policy, or?
What do you
just-
mean?
No,
Well,
the change?
yeah, because
No.
what I'm gonna do is I plan on emailing you and just having you double check my list to make sure that what we've agreed to move forward, we're moving
Oh.
forward. And what we've agreed to leave behind, we leave behind. But then, for example, there's a couple of verbiage changes here. Or do you want me to put that in a red font so that you
Oh,
can
just so
see
we can
that?
see.
To make
It's not
sure
gonna
that
be
I
like
capture.
permanent.
No.
Just to show what changes
Oh,
need to be made.
okay.
I'm
It's
fine
to,
with that.
it's to
Yeah.
make sure that I'm doing this right, because I may miss it,
Oh, yeah,
and you may
because
say,
it's a lot of policies.
right,
Mhm.
so again, I
And
just.
we would may miss it.
So if you're okay with that, yeah, I'll push that forward to you, just so you can see that. And then my expectation is that you would reach out and tell me no before the board meeting. And if you don't, and then you realize, then when we come to adjustments, that's when you would say, we need to pull this policy out because we didn't make the correct adjustments.
Sure.
And we can do that. So there's a couple of fail safes there in place.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
IKF
Or just IK.
or IK, sorry about that.
Academic achievement.
Is there gonna be one?
Okay, so we have an IK that was originally adopted in 1991, updated in 07, 11, and 15. And it's just a one-liner change. Page 1 there.
It's a minor change maybe on theirs, but it's more than that on ours.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, what are they replacing?
Well, again, that gray language is the newest updated language from the state, and that's if our policy was current.
Right.
Right, and so that's why sometimes this is not an apples to apples. If we haven't kept current.
Yeah, I just always wonder what that sentence said before they
Okay.
made it all gray like that.
Oh, there wasn't there.
Oh, they just.
That's
added it.
new language. That's new legislative language.
Well, they had to say something there, Scott, because that sentence wouldn't make any sense. When no grades are given, but the student is evaluated in terms of progress, the school staff will.
I see what you're saying. Let me try this. Ah, here we go.
Even course requirements. Will also provide a realistic. So where instead of relating them to where they are in relation to their peers. We're showing whether they're achieving course requirements at the student's current grade level.
So the language we're looking at, when no grades are given, but the student is evaluated in terms of progress, the school staff, and the old language reads, the school staff will also provide a realistic appraisal of the student's standing in relationship to his or her peers. So that gives the school staff member the opportunity to interject some extenuating circumstances. Where now the language reads, where no grades were given, but the students is evaluated in terms of progress, the school staff will show whether the students is achieving course requirements at the student's current grade level. So this sounds like it's more
What kind of scenario would this come into play?
more quantitative. Well, before it seems to me like it gave me a great deal of latitude. I could take into consideration that maybe there were some things going on in the student's personal life which could have affected his or her progress. And so I would adjust that scale accordingly, but wouldn't have to demonstrate that, maybe.
Is that how you read? Because I read that to mean that it, when you have a parent-teacher conference, they usually tell you that, he's at the same place a lot of his peers are, or he's a little behind in reading of the other kids,
Mhm.
And it sounds like we're saying, don't do that. Say he's a little behind in relation to where he should be in terms of mastery of the course material.
Well, at the grade level.
Yeah.
Right. But remember too, that there's discussion about changing our standards in the state, going from a higher standard we have right now to not as high a standard.
But that's not in this.
That's kind of how that reads to me. Shows whether or not you're achieving course requirements. So if the standards are reduced,
Oh, so you're saying if they reduce the
yeah,
standards, then
Yes.
everyone will achieve the standards because they've been lowered.
Well, and I have
But-
a question too, between 2 and 3, because it talks about the student's performance or attitude becomes unsatisfactory, but then in 3, it says, that it will not include the student's attitude.
so in step 2.
Will not include the student's attire. Oh, no, attitude, you're right.
Parents will be alerted and conferred as soon as possible if the student performance or attitude becomes unsatisfactory. So I'm just giving you a call and just saying, hey, the student's performance or attitude is unsatisfactory. So I'm just
Mhm.
calling you as the parents and just letting you know.
Okay, so they can still tell parents, hey, his attitude's really
Yeah,
taking
something's
a
up.
tumble,
Yeah, what's
but
going on?
they don't get to judge the grades on that. They have to grade based on the work that they turn.
Okay,
So
Right,
it's like you have a crappy attitude, but you got the math wrong, right? So you get credit.
okay.
right.
I think I'm okay with this. I mean, I understand what you're saying about if they reduce the standards, but I mean, that's
Right.
not being done right now
No.
in this policy.
No, that's
Yeah.
beyond our scope.
Okay, so this is a yes.
All right.
And the next one is IKF.
Graduation requirements. Oh, Lord.
Oh, that's a long one.
First step is figuring out what the requirements are. Do
Do they have any?
That should be the test. If you can explain to me how you graduate here, then you graduate.
I'm surprised it's that long.
An accretionary process, I think.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so IKF, yes, we do have on the
Hmm.
books, 2000, 2007, 9, 11, 12, 14, and 16. Was the last time, 2016. And really your changes, well, there's some ORSs that have been changed. The bottom of page 1.
So they went from 4 credits down to 1 credit. That kind of how I'm reading that?
Where are you at?
Oh, I'm down on the end of page 1 on number 2.
Oh, okay, I'm on the sample policy. You're on the regular policy. I'm sorry.
And then, yeah, also number 1 too, they're changing the 3 credits in mathematics. Oh, they're doing 1 unit in algebra 1 and 2 units in a higher level. Okay, so it's those 3 credits. I'd like to know what the prior requirements were to get.
You want to look at our policy right now? Okay,
It says 3 credits in science, 3 credits in social studies. 1 credit in health, 1 credit in physical education.
okay, so here, let me spin this around to you. Oh, that's 2011, that's 14.
Oh.
Okay, that's 2014 and beyond. Okay, so 2014 and beyond, you needed 4 credits in English language arts, 3 in math, 3 in science, 3 in social studies, 1 in PE, 1 in health, and 1 in second language, the arts, or CTE, and then elective. So I went through that pretty quick, but there is a more tighter list.
And is that list from the state? Or
Yeah.
rather, is this list from the state of the requirements?
Well, this would be coming from the state, yes. Yeah, this isn't something that. So I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but you've got, say, for example, 3 credits in the social sciences, and that's all it says. On here, it says 3 credits in social sciences, including history, geography, economics. So under the social sciences, it's more specific. So it looks like they've given some flexibility in some areas and tightened up in other areas.
You would run a real risk, I think, if you were mucking with the graduation requirements.
Yeah,
So I'm okay with this. Do you have any concerns?
no.
Okay.
Can't really do anything with my full status.
All right, now this one. The next one I'm gonna be interested to hear about.
This
'cause
is J
it's a little
G
interesting.
A B. Right? Yeah.
So if I read this correctly, the only thing it's changing is that the use of a quote seclusion cell is prohibited. Does that mean that you can't put a violent student in a room separated from the other students?
Let's read and
This
see
is a
what the
big topic
update
right
says.
now.
JGAB,
JGAB.
okay.
It's a mouthful.
Use the following traits: perceive, chemical, mechanical, prone, supine. Any restraint that involves intentional, non-incidental use of a solid object, including a wall, floor, impedes a student movement unless the restraint is necessary to prevent intermittent life-threatening or to gain control of a weapon. Restraints Any restraint that places or creates risk, places pressure on students detrimental.
What about wearing a mask?
The use of a seclusion cell is prohibited.
So what is a seclusion cell?
How about a closet?
Okay, what about a room? Does a room count?
Well, I can't because I know I just toured the wellness center and they have a special room for people to go and.
I think the key for that is to being able to go in and out though.
Okay,
So
so you're not like locked up in a room. is what-
the problem was back in the day, folks would put somebody in a room and lock the door and leave them in there for hours on end.
Mm,
It does seem bad unless they were just physically attacking a bunch of people, in which case that might be a good idea.
mhm.
Right, and so you have the right to use physical restraint when it involves the safety of the individual or others, and that's where we have specific training for folks to go through to know when to and when not to use physical restraint. By and large, as you can tell, this is extremely prohibitive of using that physical force in place. And so oftentimes, for example, I would say, to answer your question, yes, you could use, say, a classroom as an example. And so what I would do is I would do a room clear. If I had 20 students and I'm the teacher, I'd have those 19 leave, and then I would have that one student in here, and
And let him tear the room apart.
and I would be in the room with the student and calling the office and asking for immediate support to take care of the 19 others. I may have set up to where I have a safe room across the hall to where those 19 can go over there in case something like that. And then I have the agreement with you where you could send your students into my room should something like that take place. And then what I'm doing is I'm contacting the case manager, the special education teacher, if it's a student, a special needs student. And of course, we have to consider the IEP and whether that's part of their disability or not.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we don't give a damn about the other 19 students.
We do, we're
Or the
moving them
teachers.
across the room for their safety.
Well, we're moving across the room for their safety and disrupting their learning in the process because we don't want to have to
And
remove the
nobody's
one
learning.
person who's actually causing.
And then things are getting destroyed, we have to replace it, and then once you get the kids back in the classroom, they're all traumatized and can't even focus on learning or do anything. And then we've been having teachers that are getting scraped up and bitten and punched in the face and coming home with black eyes and stuff like that. When that doesn't matter. You know, who cares about the teacher's safety?
So where are we at on this policy?
Well, I would scrap the whole damn thing if I could, Scott. But we're just being asked to add one line.
The use of a seclusion cell is prohibited. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, you know what? And a seclusion cell means a freestanding or self-contained unit that is used to isolate a student from another student, physically preventing the student from leaving the unit or cause the student to believe that the student is physically prevented from leaving the unit.
So a room with the door closed,
Well, it means freestanding.
freestanding.
That's,
So
that's,
like,
it literally says seclusion cell means freestanding, self-contained unit.
so you could still isolate a student to a room.
Yes, you could.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there schools that even have freestanding cells in them that they isolate students in?
Apparently there is somewhere and they're wanting to make sure that we don't go down that path.
All right, if it's only for freestanding. You gotta be careful because some of the definitions that they use for different things are a little wacky these days.
So where are we at on this policy?
I mean, I don't see adding the use of a seclusion cell being particularly worse than the policy as it's currently written,
Mhm.
so fine.
So that looks like we've covered all the requireds.
Hey, that's good. We still have an hour. Can we take a 5-minute break?
Certainly.
That work?
Sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and leave the camera running.
Sure.
Okay,
No one's watching anyway.
I wouldn't know about that.
Sir, absolutely.
Okay, so we're back in session. And it's 7 o'clock.
All right. Well, shall we just take it from the top and do the ones that weren't required?
Okay, you
That
okay
sound
with
right?
that, Renee?
Sure.
Oh.
I'm not gonna go to with the highly recommended first.
I mean, we can if you think we
No,
should.
let's just go from the
I
top.
mean, we didn't take any of the required ones. so-
What are,
So we're looking at BBBA.
Yeah, BBBA, board member qualifications. Can't really tell what they were changing here. Was it just the word person? Is that what they're doing?
So this is what it looked like. I blow it up so you can see
no,
some.
it wasn't.
If an individual.
Hmm.
How is person better than individual? Or because some people aren't one person.
Multi,
I get it now.
the persons. That's not even proper English, is it? Employees, the persons,
Persons shall be eligible.
the persons.
Multiple persons shall be eligible. to serve as. I don't,
Whatever. So this is optional.
yeah. I mean, I would say no, but our existing one is more poorly written than the new one.
I think it's fine. There's if it says person.
Yeah, I mean, ours has person and individual, so maybe they were just trying to make it so that it all says person.
Yeah, that's fine.
So the official languages, the revisions are made to better align with the criteria stated in statute and in the Oregon Constitution.
Mm.
That's the justification.
Okay.
So I noticed that our existing policy has you have to be 18 years of age or older. Is that not? Was that not ever the law?
No, if you looked at our existing policy, it's going to fall under the ORSs at the time. But as the courts and the legislature change the interpretation of those laws or statutes or constitution.
Have
That's,
they removed the 18-year age requirement for board members?
yeah, well, it's not on here anymore. I'll bet you could be 17 and run if you were emancipated.
That would be such a great idea. Have 17-year-olds run the school. It's brilliant. God, we are just killing it here. Well, whatever we require should be consistent with state law. So I'm okay with it.
Okay, so we'll
Leave
leave
that one up to the voters.
BBBA, okay.
We'll see. This one's highly recommended.
And we're at CB?
CB.
CB, so let's see what our CB is here.
Add the sentence, the board may not direct the superintendent to take any action that conflicts with local, state, or federal law that applies to school districts. No one in their right mind would. I'm fine with this.
Mhm.
Good with CB, all right. CBC,
This is integrating the Newburgh rule, right?
superintendent's contract.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with the,
that you can't do no,
They just changed it over the first of the year.
or you have to wait a year to let the person go. You have to give them a year's notice. Keep them,
Mhm.
keep the person who you've now fired on running your school for a year, because that's a good idea. You guys are killing it. It's in the state law, so I guess we have to have it.
No, it says it's optional. On the thing.
It does. So with the passage of Senate Bill 1521, there are new provisions in the law to consider when issuing the superintendent's contract and when the district school board are making decisions related to the operations of the district. So, yeah,
Why is this not required though?
Yeah.
the
Then it
board
just
may
says
issue a
optional.
contract, and so I'm reading the gray language. The board may not issue a contract that includes terms that directs the superintendent to take action that conflicts with the local, state, and federal law.
Is that, I don't.
Let me give you an example. A different district.
Okay.
Superintendent is working with the board during COVID times. And the community and the board are saying, we are not going to mask,
Mhm.
we are not going to listen to Salem. And the superintendent says, we have to mask. And the board says, we're not masking. Well, OHA says we have to mask,
Mhm.
and the governor, who's the head of ODE, says that if I don't comply with the OHA order, I will lose my license. So that is the situation where the board was directing the superintendent to ignore what was being handed out. I don't know if you would say it was a law or if it was an emergency order or what the technicality is, but that was a situation where a superintendent lost their job because that superintendent did not want to lose their license.
Mhm.
That's, I think, it's where this is coming from.
Mhm. Yeah, but the other part is down here, the employment contract, if it includes a mutually agreed to termination without cause provision by the board, will include a 12-month notice of termination for such provision. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that was solely exclusive to here. It was a similar situation in another
Mm.
district in the state as well.
Well, they called it the Newburgh law, so I'm gonna assume.
Okay,
Yeah.
then, all right. So are we saying yes to CBC?
Very influential in the formation of state.
Okay, so I'm gonna say yes. to CBC.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
Okay,
fine.
okay.
That's great. I mean, if we lock Steve in now, he's
Yeah,
set. They can fire him. He's still here for a year.
he's good to go.
CPA, layoff and recall of administrators.
We're not in charge of it.
Well, we're in charge of the policy that governs it.
Yep.
And do we have a current one?
This is highly recommended.
And we have CPA, and it is how did
Yeah, updated in 2020. I guess that was near and dear to our heart.
that are not considered teachers. Oh, interesting. So they added.
Yeah, it looks, yeah, so what they did is they added ORS 342-934. That's what was included on there. Why that's in the language up above, and that's critical because they're under both the existing policy that we have and the new policy. You can see it listed down below, but why it has to be in the body, I don't know.
Well, they added the ORS language, but they also made it clear that teachers are exempted from this, right?
Okay.
Because our current one just says the policy applies to all licensed administrators below the rank of assistant superintendent.
So this is
And now
just
they've
a
added
district.
who are not considered teachers under ORS.
So it's just more explicit.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
so we're good with CPA. DBEA.
Yeah, when are we talking about the budget committee? When are we going to, we're all on the budget committee?
Correct.
And then we probably need to have community members that represent the zone to be on the budget committee.
Are we zones here for board members?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, so they would stand to reason that you'd be zones for the budget committee as well then.
Yeah.
We have an existing,
Do we still have those same people?
yeah, they're like a 4-year term.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if a board member left, if that person can also,
Oh, if their like
Right.
budget person goes with them,
yeah,
they can decide to nominate someone else when the current budget committee member's term is up. They would not have to necessarily renominate that person. They could nominate someone else,
okay.
but they don't like get to pull, hook the person 3 years into their 4-year
Okay,
committee.
but
term.
if the person wanted to quit or resign.
Yeah, if they leave, then there's opening, you have to replace them.
And then how do we find out? Because we haven't met for the budget committee. And when are we supposed to be meeting?
That's always in the spring.
Oh, in the
or,
spring.
Yeah, after
Okay.
the winter break.
Did you miss that last year?
Oh, no, there was a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I didn't know if there
She's
was-
thirsty for more. She wants us to be doing it right now.
I
She
didn't
wants it
know
to be
if
a
it was
year-round
like-
budgeting process.
That's impressive.
Oh,
She has commitment, okay? You don't all have that level.
So as far as the timeline for the budget committee and when it convenes will adjust with the business manager that you have. Typically, it's going to start April.
okay.
It depends.
I'll have to worry about doing that.
No, it's not tomorrow.
Yeah, usually we have a kickoff kind of meeting in like February, March timeframe.
Okay.
That's what we've done in the past.
Okay. And then.
So we have a budget committee, DBEA already. How does this compare?
Hmm.
So for me, it looks like it's quite similar. So there's a nuance there on our existing policy under number 2, and then on this version here, at least one, is that right? At least one member of the budget committee. Let me check and see that.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
'cause
CP.
that's like right here.
We're not over that ADM though,
Okay.
so we have till 25,
Oh,
right? Where our ADM, is our ADM under 10,000?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just at 4+.
okay.
Yeah.
This is not required though, right?
This is highly recommended,
Highly recommended.
Highly recommend.
highly.
I'm not seeing anything that's all that important. That's not covered in our current policy. What do you think?
Sounds good.
So help me understand what y'all just said. Is that yes, move it forward
Yes,
or
move it
no?
forward.
Oh, no, I was saying don't.
No.
Yeah, see,
Oh,
I'm glad,
I
I'm glad.
said
yeah.
that.
No, I said I don't see anything that's a large enough improvement over our current policy to warrant moving.
Oh, okay. That's a no.
so that's a no? Okay. And that's DBEA. Okay. We got EFA, we scratched GBEA. Now we're at GCBDB.
Slash GBBDB.
Yeah.
Let's try to say
Say
the whole
that.
thing.
Well, I
Say that
just-
fast.
I was abbreviating.
Early return to work.
Except for the one that is 1,000 letters long.
So
Early return to work from what?
It's case by case
So if I go out, I'm ill or I'm injured. And then I heal faster than expected. And I'm coming back. That's what this is covering.
Well, this is from 2006, so we do have that online.
Oh, it's like they got hurt, they can do, we can modify their work to compensate.
Where is that? Okay, so OSBA is telling us that early return to work is in alignment with the Equal Opportunity Commission guidance, and it's just revising the policy to consider for readoption.
For readoption.
Yeah, because we already have it adopted from 2006.
Is it changing at all other than the legal references at the bottom? You see some change in
No,
those?
I would say very minimal. So let me blow this up for you. And I'm gonna punch this out.
I mean, ours at least has correct spacing here between the paragraphs.
It's pretty minimal.
Mhm.
Will May. And which did you go with there? Will. Now, why will instead of May? Let me look at this.
All right.
Well, will be offered instead of may be offered.
If recovering is ongoing, sick leave is exhausted and no other assignment is possible, the district will provide temporary unpaid leave as an accommodation in accordance with federal law. And then let's take a look at our existing. If no other assignment is possible, the district shall provide unpaid leave. So I stayed with the policy. I just followed what was in process, where before we said it was a shall, now it's a will. So that was the
And
rationale.
will is technically from a legalistic standpoint is a little softer than shall, right?
Yeah, but it's still will is will and shall is shall, but
Right.
yeah. And so, yeah, I just went with our current practice.
Okay. What does this look like in the real world? What does this policy look like?
I thought I heard it earlier, it's a case by case situation. And so what happens on an early return to work is that we're going to be consulting with OSBA, and under OSBA is PACE. PACE is the insurer that we work with when if I'm having to take leave because of, a bum knee or whatever. And so if the doctor comes back and says, you're going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, we could say to PACE, well, we can see ABC, but not the others because it's an undue burden. And so those are the types of things that we would argue or we would debate. The other concern that I would have, potentially early return to work, the thought process is that you want to keep people working, because if they get used to staying home and getting paid, then it
It's hard to
becomes
get off of that.
right. So
All right.
I think I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's fine.
did we do IGAC?
No.
Okay. GAC. And yes, we do have that from 2007.
That's one of my favorites.
Well,
Yeah, I figured that's what it was.
yeah, that's all it is. It's just a legal.
Yep. All right. I'm good with it.
We can't like add putting Bible on the desk.
Stop it.
Okay, so
Legally, they can,
this is good as written.
yeah.
I
Okay,
encourage it. IGAI. Oh, gosh.
This is a fun one.
Mhm.
okay, so it looks like IGAI is the last paragraph is the change.
You do not,
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
put a
No,
big X by that.
no. No, no, no. That ain't happening.
Okay, so we went with IGBAF. We said no to IGBB, IGBBA. And we're down to IGBHE.
Standard options, highly recommended.
IGBHE.
Hmm.
So we do have that, and that was last updated 2012.
What's changing?
IG. EHE. I can get it tighter for you, but you can see some basic changes.
So all they're really changing is they're replacing the words dropout with student returning to high school after dropping out of school. They're earning their pay in Salem. I'll tell them that.
Reading my mind.
So everything else okay?
Everything else is exactly the same except that.
Just some little tiny words.
Let me push through real quick here. Yeah, so for example, it will say, in the past, the board will issue a decision. Now it says the board or designee. So it's giving you some more flexibility in your language.
And what does the board or other designee get to do?
Let me go back to that. Okay, so this is under page 2.5, duplicate courses, second paragraph, which is the last paragraph on the bottom of this page. It reads, a student may appeal a duplicate course determination to the board based on the evidence of the scope of the course. The board, in the new languages, or designee, will issue a decision on the appeal within 30 business days of receipt of the appeal. If the appeal is denied by the board or designee, the student may appeal. So that's an example. So you may delegate that to the superintendent, or superintendent delegates it to whomever if the board doesn't want to weigh in directly.
Yeah. I guess I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Jumping down to IMB. Oh,
The
language
district
changes.
improvement.
Not that big.
Lots of changes. Do we even have this? IMB. We do. Last updated in 2009. And it doesn't look like our new policy is matching our old policy, so you can just do the quick review and you can see that
Mm,
the significant format change.
Not sure about that. It's a trick.
It's a trap.
And it's like the wording is. weird.
What's your spidey sense still telling you something's wrong?
Mhm.
Well, I mean. This isn't required, correct?
That is correct.
It's just highly recommended.
Of course, they highly recommend all their changes.
Mhm. Can you go into more like what this improvement program is? Like an example or something?
Well, the way it reads to me is, well, let me read to you the official summary. Is the State Board of Education recently made revisions to the rules related to improvement plans and programs. It changes the self-evaluation requirement from once every 3 years to once every 4 years. That's a significant shift. Remaining revisions reflect changes from other updates and rules. So yeah, the highest impact is instead of having to do this every 4 years. My recommendation is that, yes, we would adopt this just to stay consistent with the federal and state requirement and plans that would come down.
Now, in that second paragraph
Of the new policy.
of the new policy,
The superintendent will ensure the development and implementation of a comprehensive collaborative planning and self-evaluation process at the district's goal to setting the continuous improvement program efforts. So basically what it's saying is that when we develop a plan that, yes, we're self-reflected, but when it's a we, it's more like the community.
Mhm.
Because these SIA funding, for example, we've got to push that out. And so this self-reflection is more based on a local control as opposed to other arbitrary goals that maybe were set forth by the state or by the.
Yeah, I was just gonna say though, in this policy, it looks like they give us two choices of a language to use there. One is sort of a shorter engages the school community, and the other is involves parents, students, teachers, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
Can we just like pick one of those and eliminate the other one? Because otherwise it's extremely long wording.
Yes, so the upside of that, and when you get bracketed language like that, you have the flexibility to make the changes on how you want that written.
So I would say let's delete the second bracket and keep the first. Is that all right with you, Renee?
Yeah.
Let's read. The superintendent will ensure development and implementation of a comprehensive collaborative planning and self-evaluation process that engages the school community.
Mhm.
That work?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
We'll
the
get rid of
comprehensive
all of that.
collaborative planning and self-evaluation process. Did you erase it?
No.
Oh,
I was highlighting with my finger what part we were crossing out there.
that engages the community.
We're keeping that part, we're crossing out the part that
Getting rid of
comes
the rest of
after until in the goals, district's goal setting.
Okay, so the superintendent will ensure the development, implementation, comprehensive, collaborative planning.
Oh, you actually got rid of both brackets, didn't you? In
Yeah.
your-
Yeah,
Okay, that works for me too.
Yeah, just.
Yeah,
what
that's fine.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
You did.
yeah,
Okay,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, I was looking,
Yeah,
I was
no, that's-
focused
I'm
on
like,
that.
yeah, no, because that's, yeah, you edit.
Right.
Yeah, and so,
Okay, yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. All right, so, oh, okay.
we're all on the same page.
Well, it threw me off because you didn't have that crossed out there.
No, that came straight from
Oh, that's straight,
OSBA.
gotcha,
That's the unedited version.
Gotcha,
And then that gave us the flexibility.
I see. All right, I like it.
JEA,
AEA, compulsory attendance. I noticed on this one that we're adding language about the parents in this. But do we have any sort of enforcement power to even back that up if we're doing that?
okay, so. Persons, in the new language, I'm reading in the first paragraph, persons having legal control of a child between 6 and 18 who has not completed the 12th grade are required to have the child attend and maintain the child in regular attendance during the entire school term. What that reads is that the person who has legal control is the one that can be held accountable if that child is not attending. So then it's going to come down to the court and who has the better attorneys as to what that looks like.
So how does that first, if I read this first paragraph, I don't see any room in there for homeschooling. How does that work?
Well, we're not in homeschool.
If
Homeschool,
we're,
this
like,
is policy for
Well, fair
Newburgh
enough.
K 12. Yeah, this has nothing.
Except where, so is it when exempt by Oregon law? Is that the out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, this policy wouldn't apply to me if I live in the Newburgh School District and I'm homeschooling.
Okay.
This is only for Newburgh Public Schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why the two different, why paragraph 1 and paragraph 2? Because
All
I'm not
children,
understanding what the, one is children 6 through 8 who have not completed 12th grade. One is all children 5 years of age who have been enrolled in public school.
you don't have to, 5 years of age, you don't have to be in. It's the way it's reading to me is it's 6 to 18 is the
Okay.
requirement. And so it's if you're at 5.
But
that's
if they're 5 and you've enrolled them, then you have to.
Mhm. That's the distinction I
Okay.
took from this. So OSBA says there's been recent changes in compulsory attendance, removing the Class C violation. Oh, that's interesting. Other than that, this policies remain changed. So in here, it's saying that you can't be hit with a Class C violation. That's according
Parents
to,
does not supervise their child by requiring school attendance, may also be a violation. And a violation. Where are you seeing class C violation?
right, with the last paragraph right here.
Class A violation.
Oh, class A.
yeah, this is in the summary.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
reading the
Thank you.
summary. Yeah, sorry.
So it was a class C and that's class A. Is that,
I'm seeing it's going away.
Oh, the class C is going away?
That's what that reads to me.
well, they're letting murderers out. I don't imagine they'd keep truants in.
But then you have the back. You can't have.
Where were you seeing class A violation?
Right here,
I'm scanning. Oh,
bottom of the very
okay.
first section.
a parent who is not supervising a child by requiring them to attend school may also be in violation of the ORS for failing to supervise a child is a class A violation. Where that's, I think, taking it away if they don't attend. So you could still supervise the child, but if that's basically reading neglect to me.
No, the way I read it is they're not they're supervising their parent if they haven't sent them to school.
Requiring school attendance may also be failing to supervise a child is a class A violation. And that's in the old language too, or at least it should have been. I don't know if we have the new policy or not. 2017, I would guess that it's been updated since then, so it's not in our current language.
Yeah.
Yeah, because under our current policy on the bottom of page 1 of 2, it says failure to send a student to maintain a student in regular class attendance is a class C violation. Well, they're saying that has gone away, so
Okay.
seems to me we need to
Yep.
adopt this. But are we okay?
Yep. I'm good with it. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
JHC, we do have that last updated in 2017.
How does this one? How is this affected with the health center? Or is that,
Well,
Is
I
that a
think any,
separate thing?
any nurses that we have there would go towards the required number, right?
so these are just like the school nurses and stuff like that, it wouldn't, the health center wouldn't be included kind of in that, it's a separate identity.
District shall provide one nurse for every 125 medically fragile. The health center would be separate from this.
Okay,
I like the parental notification part.
mhm.
I'm okay with this, I think.
Mhm. I like that exempt too, that the parents can
Mhm.
request an exemption. So that's good.
Yeah, to like two things.
Mhm, yeah. Yeah, makes it-
So last policy in our original list.
Wait, we're gonna finish on time here.
Yay.
Oh, wait, I went to the wrong policy. It's KBA.
Oh, we would have finished on time.
Well, but I added a couple extras that keep us longer, but if we don't have the time, we could do it at our next meeting as well. Public records request. As many as we get, I would strongly recommend that we update this one.
Yeah. I noticed that the board reserves the right to establish a fee, and I know that. Is that what it currently is set up as in our policy? Are we supposed to establish a fee? Because I know administrators were just kind of charging whatever they wanted for a while there.
Where are we establishing the fee on this
On the
proposed?
new one, it is the very first sentence of the 5th paragraph.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The board reserves the right to establish a fee. Yeah. So to me, that would make sense.
I'm just curious what we say now.
Next, it's been kind of all over the board.
Yeah, I mean, what we should do is just have a one size fits all
Yes. well,
Yeah.
standard fee
mhm,
per page or something.
Yeah.
mhm.
Maybe have like if it's less than 50 pages free or something. Something to that effect. Okay, yeah, right now it's just. Okay, I think this is an improvement. We'll have to figure out what our fee is.
Mhm.
I
Do we
assume
add that? Do we just do it ourselves?
So here's why I
We
would,
don't add that to the.
here's why I
Yeah.
would
The fee.
disagree.
Oh, it's here already. It's right here.
No, I meant add.
Oh.
We just come up. Where do
I
you
would
put
leave
that?
that at the board's discretion
So we don't-
outside of policy,
Okay,
because that might change. We change our athletic fees every year.
Okay.
right?
So that
Seems
wouldn't
like
be
I
the
wouldn't
answer.
put that price in our
Okay.
policy, because then every time you want to change your fee, you have to change the
Oh,
policy.
okay.
Yep.
So that's something we'd have to do.
So on a public records request, I don't know if we're even charging anything. If I get a public records request, let's say people want to know how we're going through the policy process and they fill that out. I don't know if we're charging a fee to that, to be honest with
Well,
you.
there was before, people were getting charged quite a bit.
It was depending who was asking.
Yeah. Yes.
They told me I had to pay $500 to get emails one time.
Yeah.
I was a board
then-
member at the time,
And then other people weren't paying anything.
Yeah.
but that's an old administration we're talking.
But no, but what I'm saying though, that would put us in significant legal jeopardy if I'm telling you you're free and because you wear glasses and a goatee like me, I'm going to charge you double.
Yeah,
Well, a community member did complain about that, like, how come I was charged this and this person wasn't, and at this time I was charged this, but at this time I was charged this.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
I think that's why it makes sense to have the board establish a set fee scheme. I did have one concern on this one.
Oh.
And that is district electronic mail addresses assigned to the district and to district employees are not exempt. Does that potentially risk exposing student details in a public records request of a teacher's email.
That's where we would take that to our attorney. If there was something where somebody was wanting to see every email that I've sent since I've been here and it involves students, I would run that through our attorney first, because I would see that as privileged information. So if you were making that request and it involved your child as an example, I would not readily turn that over until I consulted with our attorney first.
Can we put some sort of language in here just to make it clear that we need, for any public records request, we need to make sure that we're not releasing protected student information?
Where would you want it?
It would be right after that sentence where district elect, the last paragraph. It
Last paragraph
is
on second
On
page.
that first page.
on first page.
On first
sorry.
page,
Last
okay.
paragraph on the first page. It is second to last sentence. District electronic email addresses assigned by the district to district employees are not exempt. And I'd like to just add sign to the effect of, however, steps we'll be making to make sure no private student information is released in such public record
Yeah, something about
releases,
protecting the students.
just so that people know they have to look out for that.
Yeah,
And go through the emails, make sure we're not releasing student information. Because, and the reason I say that we need to have that in there and say it is because we actually had executive privilege stuff get released in public document requests last year before you got here. So they released stuff that was covered under executive privilege for the board.
Yeah, you have an executive session, and so there was a public records request.
And they
based
just
off of
gave
the
everything,
minutes.
and they included stuff that was covered under the executive section.
and
Yeah.
student information.
So,
Yeah, but that's a violation of FERPA.
well, tell it to the judge.
They didn't care about any of that.
Well, then, let me ask you this, if law is not protecting it, what makes you think policy would? Because policy is at a lower level than law, so why even add it?
You know, I just want it front of mind.
Yeah.
That's why I want.
Okay, so you're wanting something to the effect of students' information is going to be protected.
Yeah,
somehow,
steps will be
some way.
taken to ensure that no private student information is released in such a request.
What if it directly involved a student and they were needing that information?
Is that ever something that we would release in a public records request though? That, like, get a subpoena if you want that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder who the other two participants are.
Okay. So I'm gonna
Well, one
keep
could
that
be
here.
Trevor.
That's true. It could be Trevor.
See.
What's the other one?
Mm.
All right, so can I go back to
You-
this
if
real
you
quick?
find-
I want to make sure that I got all the policies and excluding all the policies as well.
Yeah,
So. Ready?
Yep.
BBBA, CB, CBC, CPA, those are all in.
Yeah.
DBEA is out.
Yeah.
Maybe it's quicker if I just go with the ones that are out. GBEA is out. IGAL is out.
L or I?
IGAI, sorry,
Okay, all right.
thank you. IGBB,
IGBAF is out.
Is it? Oh, yeah, because it's all,
It was all
yeah, okay,
tied together.
IGBAF is out,
Yeah, everything between IGBAF
okay,
to IGBBC will be
okay,
next.
okay, so they're all out, okay. So, and then the rest.
And then
of them are
everything
in.
else was approved,
Okay,
which wasn't so bad.
Mm-mm.
so,
They make the worst ones required.
so we came into this as a group late. I've got another package, quarterly updates sitting in the loo, ready to go. So instead of me going through and editing them ahead of time, should we get together and edit them together? So for example, you saw examples tonight, which were just, that's what came from OSBA. And so then we would go through as a committee and then make recommendations to the board that these are the changes that we want, as opposed to me going through this and then going back and then kind of haggling back and
Mm.
forth. It seems to me it makes the most sense to start the foundation and then work our.
I
way
agree,
forward.
I agree, yeah.
Okay.
We can make those choices in these meetings. That's
Yeah,
fine.
because I think it goes cleaner that way. So when
Yeah.
it does come to the board, it's not one guy. It's four of us that potentially could answer the questions for the other three or potentially folks out into the community as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's best.
Okay,
And for what it's worth, I did like most of the choices that you made, so
yeah.
it's not that I don't trust your choices.
No,
but-
no, you're not taking this personally. You guys are elected officials. I'm not. And well, as an elected official, then you're responsible, directly responsible to the public. That's how our system is supposed to work. So no, I didn't take any of that personal.
Okay. I figured you wouldn't. You seem like you have a tough skin.
Well, I don't know about that.
And I did order pizza tonight and I ate it myself.
Good for you.
So,
Good
I
for
thought you were saying that pizza was about to get here, and I was like, why didn't you order that at the beginning of the meeting? I was
So-
hungry then.
because they were like, talked, and I didn't know, was that serious? Are we gonna order pizza?
You guys. You guys cut me off if you want to, but this is a conundrum that if I don't bring now, I'm gonna bring to the group as a whole, which is just Trevor, and maybe we will anyway. So what I have here is our current policy, and what we're looking at is KL JFH, and that is the Public Student Complaint Process and Procedure. Okay, so that's what we have currently in place.
Okay.
Now, when I asked OSBA for an update, this is where it gets zany, y'all. Here's version 1 of KL.
Oh,
Here's version 2 of KL. Here's version 3 of KL. And here's version 4 of KL. There are also ARs associated. I believe there's only 2, so there's a total of 6. Now, because our existing policy is KL-JFH, there's only one version of this, and it is separated, which means this existing one, which is outdated, we would need to pick one of these 4 versions and then also implement this.
into it.
No,
Oh,
keep them
It's its own
separate.
oh, keep it separate.
Keep it separate
Couldn't
because
you just also get rid of the JHF there and keep this?
you could keep no, because KL and JHF is intertwined under that one. So over the
Mm.
years, they've separated this out. That's the problem.
Mm.
Plus, they're offering 4 different processes under the KL complaint process.
Do we
Okay.
have to read through all those 4 processes and kind of decide what,
That would be where I think we come together as a committee,
yeah,
and I'm recommending that that's what we do, and then we could come back together next time and we could discuss that along with the other updates, or you're like, no, I don't want to change. Let's just do the update again.
and can we get a copy? of all
God,
those?
this is what people have to decipher to figure out how they file a complaint? Throw that one out. This one's 3 pages. How's this one?
That's an initial reaction. I think we'll bring it to the committee next time.
Well, I
But
mean, seriously though, I mean,
Are these
I'm pretty
already
good at
all
reading
separated?
legalese. If
Yeah.
I look at my, I
So I-
go
one of
Google
these-
it.
yeah, what yes, so you can have a hard copy. I had them here for you tonight. I can also send
Okay.
these to you electronic as
Well, I know
well. I'm a hard copy person too.
I'm definitely a hard.
Okay, so I'm taking this as a hearty yes.
Yeah, well,
Yes,
No, no.
okay. And then,
And then.
of course,
which ones do you have so far?
I have these.
This one? Get yourself one of those.
Oh,
now, how did
Why
I,
did they put? me
Your
on the
kale
phone?
cup.
how did I pick
Right.
KL? KL is what? Public
Public
complaints, and because,
So and then this is the JHF,
yes,
separate.
yes, because this is from the original. And it needs to be separated out. So what I'm thinking is the ARs, whatever policy we like as a committee, then I will recommend to the superintendent that he drafts the AR that coincides along with the policy, because it doesn't make sense to have a AR that is not in conjunction with the policy, because one operates at 10,000 and one operates at ground level, and they need to work together. So you can see why, as I shared with you, other boards that I've worked for, they're like, no, dude, you gotta-
Yeah, how about it?
You
yeah,
do it.
go get them, Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just did this for the,
for the giggles of it.
I just did it for the public praise and the notoriety.
Okay,
I got that.
now, this is something. Have you been on the board since 2019?
Mhm.
Okay, so you may have been aware of this. So I contacted Spencer Lewis, who's the head of policy for OSBA. And I said, hey, what if OSBA came in and did a massive policy review process? So you see the examples that are here and how detailed it can be involved. So in my past life as a superintendent, that district had been struggling with their policy. And so what they did is I believe they went with the middle of the road option, but that still left me with about over 100 policies that I had to work through that wasn't covered through OSBA. And so this is nothing more than an option for you to consider, and maybe we consider bringing this to the board. Maybe we like the local control and we just continue to chip away at it. There are the policy updates, which is what we just went through. What I just handed you under policy KL, we have up to 25 a year that we can contact OSBA, and we want the updated policy on KL and KLAR. So that's 2. The 4 versions, it's only the one that you go with, and then the AR that complements it. So it counts as 2 and it costs us. And so those 25 aren't part of our OSBA fee, but it gives us the latitude, for example, to update our KL policy, which hasn't been updated for a while. So that's a different process. So as you grab those policies, you didn't stop and look, but there isn't any lined out or grayed language because there hasn't been a legislative change. And so that's going to come across looking different than the policy updates because that's due to legislative changes.
Okay.
So that's it in a nutshell. But this is just giving you more options to consider if you wanted to move at a quicker pace. There's a cost associated with it, but then you're bringing in OSBA directly, or we can continue to do the quarterly updates and we can look at individual policies on our own and update that as well. So I'm not looking for an answer per se. I just wanted to bring this to your attention.
Mhm. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Okay,
Mhm.
so we're right at 8 o'clock. Any questions or concerns?
No, I don't think so. We
Okay,
have our homework.
so I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
conclude our meeting
Fine.
at 7:58.